Hello everybody, welcome back to me in my glorious wardrobe room. Still feeling like a brand new woman. My last video was all about the transformation of this room, and a transformation it was. It was shameful before. All the details I'll put in the description box of where I got these beautiful wardrobes from as well. But today we're going to talk through all-time wardrobe favourites. Not everything is here, some things are in New York, most of my clothes are here in London. But for the most part, I end up just travelling back and forth with whatever I'm wearing a lot at that moment. But inevitably, some seasonal items get left in each place depending on when I was last there. So, not all, but a lot of my favourite winter coats are in New York at the moment, and boots and stuff. Basically, a lot of my winter clothes. So we're going to have to do a part 2 for when I'm in New York. Always thinking about how to do a video about how my style differs in London and New York, because it definitely does, but in a way that I haven't quite managed to place. So bear with me on that. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go through these beautiful, gorgeous wardrobes, because any excuse to open and close them is good in my books, and talk through my absolute all-time favourite pieces. Okay, starting with denim. Denim has been the cornerstone of my wardrobe for years and years and years, will continue to be for many, many years. I have lots of pairs of jeans. I've gone with my most worn, and I think what I've learned from this exercise is that generally the most worn pieces for me are going to be actually the things that flatter my figure the most. If I can go through phases being into like more cropped denim, at the moment I'm kind of into like really masculine low rise baggy crotch denim, which is great. I'm enjoying styling it a lot, but it's not the most flattering thing for me on my body. And the most worn pieces tend to be the things that you just feel great in for that reason. Got a pair here from Weekday. These are the first ever Weekday Row jeans. I think that they did. Definitely the first pair that I ever got, but I'm pretty sure these are the first that they did. I think I've had them for about 7 years. For those of you who don't know, Weekday is a really affordable brand. I think their denim, it used to be like £45. It might have gone up a little bit, but it's around the £50 mark. These have washed incredibly. For a £50 pair of jeans, these have just been so good. Unfortunately, they then have done the row in lots of different styles, but never quite the same as this. And I think the reason it's so good is because it's so long in the leg, really high-waisted, it's so flattering on the bum. It just fits me perfectly and I feel great in them. Also really nice wash of blue. Definitely, probably the most worn pair of jeans that I have. And then for a black pair, because I love black denim, as you can see, these are from Filippa. I've got these maybe 5 years ago, something like that. And they're slightly baggier than the Weekday jeans, and they are slightly less long, but they're still a similar fit, like a high waist, straight through the hip, straight down through the leg, not cropped, you can't see my ankle or anything. And yeah, I've worn these so well, and they've also washed really, really well. So it's Filippa. I don't actually know what this style is. I don't know if they still do it, but I will link it in the description. Oh, Eliza. The Eliza jean. My phone's buzzing. Substack, hello Substack. Moving on to shirts and tops. I really wanted to put a white shirt in this because I have worn white shirts pretty religiously over God knows how many years. The one that I've had the longest is this from Gap, which is one of their men's really heavy cotton ones. I really, really like it, but I have kind of all white shirts feel sort of the same. There's none that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the one in any way. So that gets a recommendation, and I've had it for a long time, but it's not a standout. Standout evening piece, or more evening, I do wear it in daytime too, is this black top from Arket. I'm wearing something very similar actually. This is a ribbed boat neck top, and I have worn this so much. It's one of those pieces that I reach for evening wear when I want to feel really, really chic. It's really flattering on me, I think. Again, like I was saying, just coming back to pieces that actually really flatter my figure. I have quite big boobs, so sometimes I find that hard for evening wear if I don't want something that's really tight. But this is like high necked but still quite sexy. I absolutely love it. Arket definitely are responsible for some of my favourite all-time pieces. I think as a high street brand they often have some very big hits to me. A similar kind of piece that I will hold on to forever is this from Vince. It's this silk halter neck top, backless, and it has these really beautiful amber buttons, like this with your hair in a messy bun, those black Filippa jeans. It's just so chic, just so timeless, and yeah, again, this just is really flattering to me. The way it sits on my boobs and everything. I really love this top. Always get a compliment on this top when I wear it. And then one more shirt that I'm going to talk about. I've been wearing a lot recently. Those are the two tops. I've probably had both of those for 3 or 4 years respectively. This I've maybe had for a couple of years, so a bit less long, not as long. English. This is also from Arket, and it's just responsible for me wanting to inject a little bit more colour into my wardrobe. I love this colour, so it deserves a special mention for that because it definitely felt like a symbolic piece in that way. You're probably all thinking, really, colour? Wearing it? Are you wearing colour? Believe me, I'm trying, and this shirt is the reason that I have been open to trying. I love it. Always get a compliment on that one as well. Moving on to trousers, skirts and shorts. The Reformation silk mini skirt. I have recently acquired a replacement of this. Not that this is fully on its way out, but it definitely has kind of lost its shape. You can't see it, so you probably will be able to see it in the cutaway a little bit more. But it's just not what it once was. But I bought this before I moved to London, so 8 years ago maybe, in LA, in the Reformation store, when it used to be the place that you go to because you couldn't get Reformation anywhere else. And this has just been the cornerstone of so many nights out. It's unbelievable. I love this skirt so much. I've worn it so many times. The most perfect black mini. I'm very glad to have a new version of it, which I'll show you in a second, but that can't be counted as a wardrobe favourite because it's too new. So honourable mention to that skirt. Okay, trousers. Navy blue suit trousers, just as a theme. My all-time favourites, which I actually haven't worn in a while but would never not have, are these from Filippa K. I think Filippa K do some really great tailoring. Wore these so much when I got them. I think I probably got them about 3.5 years ago now. I also have them in black. They're the perfect length. They're so flattering, so great around the waist. Again, the same sort of principle like I was saying earlier of just when a piece feels really great on you. And from one that's very similar but more recently acquired and much heavier wool, are these from Raey, which is also a brand which unfortunately is no longer with us, but is one that is very responsible for a lot of my tailoring pieces. They do great tailoring, really great if you're tall. These are kind of looser fitting than the Filippa K ones, but they're a much heavier wool. They have like a light chevron pattern through and this sort of bobbly effect, but these I haven't had for as long. I only had these for about 6 months, but I wear them all the time. I actually always travel in them because they're so incredibly comfortable. Alright, moving on to knitwear. Some of these are definitely in New York, but the jumper that is responsible, first and foremost, there are two, but this was the first one, for my subsequent addiction to navy blue jumpers, is this one from And Other Stories. This is actually the second one of this I had because I shrunk the first one in the wash, and if any of you remember that, it came out of the wash like this big. So I repurchased it and I still wear it. I love it. I love the shape of it. It actually also doesn't bobble that badly at all. That's the thing that I find the most frustrating about knitwear. And then after that one, the other one that I've recommended umpteen times to the world is the Uniqlo men's cashmere jumper. I get it in a large. Would never not have one of these in my wardrobe. They're really affordable as well. I absolutely love them. I have it in black. I have it in a charcoal grey. I would just keep this forever and ever and have it in every colour if I could. So I love this. Big recommendation to this. And more recently, the brand that those are both things that I've had for maybe like 6 years. But more recently, in the past year, I've been very impressed with COS for their cashmere. I have this in this colour and like an oatmeal colour, which is in New York as well. And it's such a great jumper. This is the one that I reach for the most at the moment. And this is the one that when I'm washing it or whatever, I'm like, oh, I want that one. It's much thicker than the other two that I showed you, so it's really good for when you want to be really warm and cosy in the winter. But I will definitely be repurchasing cashmere from COS in the future. I've been really impressed by it. Right, I'm moving straight onto t-shirts. I only have one t-shirt that I want to talk about. White t-shirts. I have loads of white t-shirts that I really like. I've done testing basis on white t-shirts more than once, I think. But they all have a relatively short shelf life for me because of the staining and the armpits and things. And it's one of those pieces that no matter how many times I wash it, after a certain point it just looks tired and a bit grubby. So I would say like I tend to keep them for a year or so. Therefore I don't buy expensive ones, but then will end up replacing them for one that feels fresher. It's probably like the only item in my wardrobe that has a very high turnover like that underwear. This is the Uniqlo U men's t-shirt. I bought this 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago now, and this is still my favourite black t-shirt. Obviously just black pieces don't wear as heavily as white ones do, especially in terms of t-shirts when it's like touching your armpit and things. I just have a little bit of a mark on it there, but I love this t-shirt so much. It's so thick. It's just like, I'm not going to get a t-shirt like this ever again. It's kind of feeling like it's becoming more and more of a vintage t-shirt as well because of how much I'm wearing it and washing it. Having an extra small, my favourite t-shirt. That's the only t-shirt that we're going to talk about as an absolute all-time favourite. Okay, jackets and coats. There are definitely a lot of jackets and coats in New York. What I'm thinking of in particular is my cropped toe hem leather jacket with the zip down the sleeves. I love that so much. For a more fun jacket, I bought this 2.5 years ago from Bode. It was the first thing that I bought from Bode, and I just absolutely love this. It's kind of one of the more statement pieces in my wardrobe, as you maybe, well, you will know, and if you don't know, can tell hopefully by now that it's a very muted wardrobe over here. And this is just the kind of perfect amount of print and fun and colour for me. And I love it so much. I love the fit of it. It's so great to just throw on over things, over a t-shirt, whatever. Like I could just so easily wear it with what I have on today and would feel great. It's 100% wool, so it's quite thick and heavy. But oh, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. It was so worth the rather hefty price tag that Bode comes with. On a more classic piece that I haven't worn for ages, I haven't worn this for ages, but it feels like a relevant piece in my wardrobe to talk about. And it's this wool blazer from the Frankie shop. This was this vintage? I lose track of the, no it is not. Because the Frankie shop was just vintage for a while and then wasn't, and I've always lost track of when that changed. But I bought this in New York 6 years ago, maybe, a long time ago. And I actually haven't worn it in ages, but it's just such a beautiful blazer. I will never ever part ways with this blazer. I just only haven't worn it because I haven't really been wearing blazers for the past couple of years, but I would never say goodbye to a blazer in my wardrobe because I know at some point it will kind of come back around in my own personal style. But more recently, in lieu of blazers, I have been wearing this to death within an inch of its life, quite literally. I bought a different version of this the other day, which I'm going to show you now. But this I bought at a vintage shop in New York, in Williamsburg, at the end of last summer? A year ago? Or over a year ago? A year ago, I think. Less than a year ago. And it's just one of those pieces that just so encapsulates what I want my style to be, which is slightly androgynous, very, very classic, something kind of quite undone about it, something quite relaxed about it, but also classic chic pieces. So it really is just a piece that encapsulates the word effortless to me anyway. This colour has worked with so many things as well. It's another piece that I always get a compliment on. I did buy another version of this very recently, which doesn't become a wardrobe favourite yet because it hasn't had a chance to be. But I have definitely opened my arms to Soeur Jacket in quite a committed way, and so bought this one from the brand Soeur last week in their shop in Shoreditch. The vintage one was $150. This was a lot more expensive, but really feels it too. It's so much heavier. That's almost like shirt texture. It's just like a suede shirt essentially. This truly is a jacket, and in a much warmer brown colour, and I absolutely love it. I'm not wishing the summer away at all because we barely had one, but the one good thing about it being cooler again is that I will be able to wear this new jacket that I love. And the only other jacket that I can't not talk about, another leather one, is this Whistles one. Again, this is something that I've had for around a year. I'm conscious I'm putting quite a few recent pieces in this, but this, oh my gosh, I love this. This has been my most worn piece of the past year, hands down. It's the most perfect leather coat. It's so chic. I have a blazer in this style as well, and if you buy it, when you get it, you will feel like you have a coat hanger in the top of your jacket. It's stiff, heavy leather, so keep working with it. This is just getting better and better, and I think that's why I love the leather pieces in my wardrobe so much, the suede pieces, things like that, because they just age so well. This is so chic to me. It's 90s, but not so much so that it kind of feels a bit kitsch and too on trend. So that definitely deserves a mention. I've worn it an unbelievable amount. Okay, for coats, I've got one more. Like I said, most of my coats are in New York, but this trench from AF Agger, this was one of these pieces that I coveted for ages before I bought it. It's quite an expensive brand. And I love it so much. I love it because it's a really classic piece, similar to what I was saying about all the components that make me love that suede jacket so much. It's quite classic, it's quite oversized, but it's also quite undone, and just feels like a really nice take on a trench coat. There's this huge breast pocket. It's a really, really, really beautiful piece, and I've worn it so much. It's one of those pieces, like a lot of the pieces that I'm talking about here are very minimal, very simple, because ultimately the clothes that I wear the most are the ones I can throw on when I'm running out of the house to run errands and just want to know that I feel nice in. I don't really get dressed up most days. And so these are all pieces that kind of really complement that style of wardrobe, and this over anything, like over a navy jumper and some black jeans. Perfect, it's so good, I love it. Okay, dresses, I have a few here. My favourite brand for a black slip dress, let me start that again. My favourite kind of dress is a black slip dress. My favourite brand for a black slip dress is St. Agni. Just no one's doing it like them. They're so good. I have quite a few from them because they very generously gift me things, but this is probably one of my favourites. Really simple, really flattering, I love it. In terms of mini dresses, you really won't have seen me wear this very often, but I mean, I think you can tell from looking at it that it's incredibly well worn. It's from Everlane, and it was a midi dress, which I didn't like, it didn't suit me, and I had it made shorter, and I had it made way too short. So it's become like a summer holiday, very specific, a summer holiday beach cover up. I would wear it out and about on some holiday, wouldn't feel particularly comfortable wearing it out and about in London in the same way, but I don't go anywhere without this now. I love it so much. It was a very happy accident having it made this short, and I'm very grateful that it happened. The ultimate LBD, sorry it's inside out, Reformation again. I think I got this at a very similar time to getting the aforementioned Reformation mini skirt, and it's the most perfect black mini dress. I've worn this under jumpers, under shirts, it's been to festivals, it's been on holiday countless times, it's been on nights out, it's been all over the world, this dress, and it's the most flattering black mini dress. I love it, I will never be parted with it. And a very quick mention to the new mini skirt edition. That was a very deliberate trying to replace the Reformation one. It's kind of different because it's a much heavier wool fabric, so it's way more structured, but it's very similar in length and is very, very beautifully made. I'm overwhelmed at the prospect of doing shoes, but we're gonna have to do it. Favourite shoes. One brand that stands out above the rest is obviously Dear Frances. Years I have worn Dear Frances shoes for. I am very fortunate and I have a lot of them, but she really is one of my all-time favourite shoe designers. I don't even know where to start with my favourites. The amount that these have been worn is shameful. They could walk off on their own. I have worn these shoes. I love them so much. They're so good. They're the cross weave slide. I don't know how many years old they will be now. 5, 6 years old maybe. The most perfect chunky slide. No one's ever come close to making a chunky slide that I like as much as this one. Definitely one of my most worn sandals ever. A loafer has to be included. These I've also had for about 6 years. My Tods suede loafers. They feel particularly relevant because I'm kind of falling back in love with them again. From when I first bought them, of a similar style that I've worn an insane amount of these suede ones from churches. Always seemingly have a thing for this kind of colour suede. They're both actually very comfortable. These especially, these are like wearing slippers, they're so great. Would give an honourable mention to my Gucci loafers, but they're unfortunately in New York, the men's Gucci loafers that I've worn so much. Oh my gosh, there's so many shoes I want to talk through here. These from Manolo Blahnik that I got 5 or 6 years ago again. That was obviously a really significant point in me finding my own personal style in hindsight, because so much that I got at that time is still things that I wear all the time. But these, everyone loves these. I get so many compliments on these. They're very comfortable now. They weren't when I got them, but I love them. I love the colour of them too. In terms of boots, there's only one pair of boots that I will talk about, and they are the Church's Chelsea boots. Again, they're in New York. It's 8 years strong, I think those are, and they still do those boots. They're so much more expensive than they were. Like, the prices of that brand have gone up and up and up. I think they were like 400 quid when I got them, maybe. And I want to say they're like maybe even 900 now or something crazy. And I would purchase them again because I know I wear them so much, but this pair, I wish I had them here to show you how well worn they are. They are moulded to my foot so perfectly. And I always find when you go into winter and start wearing boots again, it can be really uncomfortable because your feet have gotten used to being in sandals and not being enclosed. And they are like the only shoe that I can segue into my winter footwear choices. They are the best boots money can buy, in my opinion. I love them so much. I don't really wear heels because of my knees. Some of you might know my knees dislocate a lot, and it's getting worse and worse as I get older, to the point that I really can barely wear or walk in heels anymore. But I have 3 pairs of heels that I would never part with, because there are still occasions where it really has to be a heel, I suppose. One is from Dear Francis, the rain sandal, really good heel height, not too high, beautiful square toe. I love the tortoiseshell. These are so flattering. With baggy jeans, with a bare leg, whatever, all of it, they look great. For a heeled boot, I bought these in Selfridges with my mum, I think maybe 7 years ago now. They really need rehealing. But these Dior boots, they're beautiful. Again, really low heel height, so I can, I've always struggled walking in heels, but it's gotten worse in the past 6 months. But these, I can still kind of get away with a heel this high, just not very long. This, again, with a long pair of trousers, it's just so unbelievably chic. I will never part ways with those. And my party heels, these are battered. These have been to weddings and all sorts. Jimmy Choo, I mean, they're absolutely wrecked. Look at that heel. That is a shoe that's been places. But again, I probably truly would struggle to wear this now at that height. But I have worn them so many times, and it's even got a little bit of party streamer stuck to the bottom. These with any dress, with any skirt, with any evening look is so beautiful. They are so flattering. I love them. Look, it's full of party streamers on the bottom of that. So they deserve special mention. I bought those very specifically for a friend's wedding, which was I think 5 years ago now, something like that. I feel like I want to mention the Chanel pumps, which I know are part of Testing Basics and therefore are kind of relatively recent because I did that Testing Basics last spring. But I've had them resold and everything because I quite literally wore a hole through them because I wore them so much. I love them, I really, really do. I know they're so expensive, it's really stupid, and it's kind of hard to pull apart with Testing Basics how much I end up wearing the more expensive things because I've already bought them. So I've already spent that much money, so I'm like, well, you kind of, you know, just are drawn to those pieces more to get your money's worth and it feel worthwhile. But they're so comfy, they're so classic, they're never going to go out of style. I'm really, really, truly glad that I got them despite how expensive they are, and I'm really glad that I got this like patent and matte combination. Oh my gosh, shoes are going to take up the most space, aren't they? I've got so many shoes I want to talk about. Another more recent one, but something that I'm very glad to have in my wardrobe. This was me searching for wedding shoes last summer, knowing that I was going to really struggle to wear a heel at all, and I bought these from Kate. They have this tiny heel, and I've worn them so much since I got them because they are just so great for, like, again, let's go back, the Arket boat neck top, some like suit trousers, the wool suit trousers from Raey that I showed you, and then these. It's just perfect. They really elevate things perfectly and feel really effortless at the same time. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for shoes because, I mean, I could talk about shoes all day long. I could do a whole video just about favourite shoes, I think. But we must stop and we must move on to the final section, handbags. Oh, belts. I just want to talk about one belt in particular, which is the vintage Chanel belt that I bought at Vestiaire Collective years and years ago. It's so beautiful. This has been worn so much and has worn in really well. Like, it's kind of fraying a little bit there, but I mean, it's really lasting and it's perfect and I love it and I will never be parted with it. I lost it for a while, which is very sad. I have 4 bags that I'm going to talk about. First, it's an Agni woven bag. Yes, it does transfer when you first get it. I don't know that they still do it in this exact style anymore, but it's incredible. I love it. Wear it all the time. Fits loads in. It's so chic. Perfect bag in so many ways. More expensive, Loewe Puzzle. I think I bought this 9 years ago, maybe 10. They have since changed it. They no longer has the feet on the bottom, and I'm very smug and very happy that I got it when I did. It was still super expensive then, but they're even more expensive now. I think this would be my all-time recommendation for a designer bag purchase. If you were to buy one designer bag in your life, let it be this. It's first and foremost a beautiful piece of design, like the way that the seams are, the way it kind of sinks in on itself. It just is a really stunning thing, just a stunning object to look at. And it fits loads in, and the strap's adjustable, and it's practical, and it's timeless, and it's beautiful, and I've never once regretted buying it. 2 more, very good vintage find. Got this off Vestiaire as well. It's this Dior vintage bag. I love it. Also fits quite a bit in, and I really like the lining of it. It's another piece that I always get complimented on, and then I can have the smugness of knowing you've got something quite vintage and special that's kind of hard to get your hands on again. Actually, I'm saying that I've got no idea if this is a rare bag at all, but it's beautiful and really good length of strap. And then finally, this. There was a time on Instagram when my following really grew. It was maybe like 6 years ago or something, just from nowhere. I don't know what happened, and it went from like 300,000 to 500,000 in like a year, and then it's kind of stood still from then, which I'm very fine with. It's a lot of people, and this bag always reminds me of that time in my life, and the outfits that I was wearing then. And that was a time actually of like, look, where I'm saying lots of things were 5 or 6 years old. And I think that was around that time when I really clicked into my own personal style, and then perhaps found like a lot of new followers through that. And it's the Celine Hobo bag. I also got this off Vestiaire. I just love this bag so much, so much. It's so practical. As you can tell, it's something that's quite important to me with handbags, and I think it should be when we're spending so much money on them. Not that that's a necessity to spend that much money on them, but if you are, you want to be able to use them. And yeah, this is featured in so many Instagram posts that did really well. So I feel quite fond of this one. It feels like an important career moment, this bag. And I feel like I've been talking at you for ages here, so I'm gonna conclude this here. I will do a part 2 in New York, which will be shorter. I'm sure there's loads of things that I'm missing here that maybe you're thinking, why should I talk about that piece? And I think when I was imagining doing this video, I thought, oh, am I gonna like pull out loads of items where it's like, this was a one-of-a-kind dress that I wore to this thing and there's a great story behind it, which I wish that I could do. I think that's really chic if you can do that, but instead it's more along the lines of, this is a black t-shirt that is washed very well and I've worn a lot, but I think and hope that's also why you will follow me, and that we like talking about things like black t-shirts that wash well and wear well. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next one.